One? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Time for convening has arrived. Senate will come to order. At this time, I will ask all unauthorized personnel to exit the chamber. Recognize the senator from the 28th for reading of the journal.
Good morning, Mr. President. Happy Cinco de Marzo. And it's National Oreo Day. Mr. President, we got a great lineup of pages today. Very little work for them to do today, but who knows? And first out of the gate, out of Decatur, very good friends of mine's son, William Bowen. In fact, his daddy was my little brother in the fraternity, and I was in his mom and daddy's wedding. Out of Palmetto, we have Palmer Fisher, another one of mine. Out of Claremont, we have Caleb Ginn. Out of Gainesville, we have Carly Gomez. Out of Gainesville, we have Melanie Serrano. Out of Ackworth, we have Christopher Adelsky and Nicholas Adelsky. Out of Noonan, we have Maya Andrew, the great city of Holmes. Out of Marietta, we have Gianna and Thomas Bonfini. Also out of the city of Holmes, Noonan, Georgia, we have Tamsin Collette and Tinley Copeland. Out of Atlanta, we have David Cunningham. Out of Fayetteville, we have Elizabeth Gable. Another group out of Noonan, the new capital of Georgia. We have Kendall Lang, Ashlyn Mitchell, Olivia Owens. Out of Cumming, we have Ava Waitman. Out of Alpharetta, we have Sophia Zahn. And out of Sewanee, we have Samdesh Thukral. Mr. President, the journal has been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you all the pages who came and volunteered your time today. We greatly appreciate all your help today, so thank y'all very much. Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators who have bills and resolutions introduced, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading references the Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 570 by Senators Kennedy of the 18th and others, a bill to be entitled...
Judiciary.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 946 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huffstetler of the 52nd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 1078 do pass, House Bill 1083 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 456 do pass by substitute, House Bill 873 do pass, House Bill 375 do pass by substitute, House Bill 563 do pass by substitute, House Bill 204 do pass, House Bill 906 do pass, and House Bill 884 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Recognize the senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 35th, 38th, the 5th, and 36th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senators from the 35th, 38th, 5th, and the 36th are excused. Recognize the senator from the 7th. Nope, waving off, all right. Any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll. Senators, signify your presence by voting the yea switch. Secretary, unlock the machine. It was, wasn't it?
Consent to excuse the senator from the 6th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 6th is excused. Senator from the 20th, what purpose you rise?
Request unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 19th and the 50th.
Senators from the 19th and the 50th, without objection, are excused. All right, it is now time for our morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease all conversation. I would ask that the doorkeeper secure the chamber at this time. Everybody could quiet down. I know everybody's all excited about being here on a Tuesday morning, so. I now recognize my good friend, the senator from the 10th, to lead us in our pledge and introduce our chaplain of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag for the principles which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation. Good morning, colleagues. It is indeed my great honor to welcome Pastor Jamal Bryant to this chamber. You see, I've tried for a while to get Pastor Bryant to come up here and join us, but his schedule just hasn't permitted. He's a very busy pastor, serving the community and, of course, serving our great state. Pastor is joined by one of his church members, Ms. Wonder. If you'll please stand, wave your hand. She works in the Attorney General's office. So anytime Pastor Brian is in the neighborhood, there's a lot of his members, and sure some up in the balcony that comes out and join him as well. Pastor Brian is a visionary civil rights activist. He's a community organizer. He's a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. And something I didn't know about Pastor is that he's a 2-time Grammy Award-winning artist. Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant combines sound biblical teachings, business acumen, and political insight to propel the body of Christ to action and greater levels of faith. Since his youth, Dr. Bryant prevailed against the odds, and I really mean that he prevailed against the odds. Something else I didn't know about my good friend is that he rose from a GED to a PhD. And I'm sure there's a story behind that as well. Before pastoring, he served as the National Youth and College Director at NAACP for 6 years, where he helped to mobilize over 70,000 youth worldwide in nonviolent campaigns. Dr. Bryant, a third-generation minister, was the founding pastor of Empowerment Temple AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland, acclaimed as the fastest-growing African Methodist Episcopal Church in the denomination, 200-year history. Now that's progress. With an undeniable gift to bridge generations from the civil rights movement to the Black Lives Matter era, Dr. Bryant incites change in the faith community. His ability to reach across social, economic, and political barriers has helped people experience the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ and activate success in their everyday lives. His ministry has become an incubator for entrepreneurs, homeowners, and the likes. Additionally, programs on his guidance have aimed to spread the gospel, develop strong leaders, empower the economically disadvantaged, and challenge social justice. In December 2018, Dr. Bryan was appointed as the senior pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Stonecrest, Georgia. His leadership efforts have strengthened the multi-generational bond between members, cultivated families, and expanded community outreach, as well as the church cultural significance. Please allow me to bring forth the pastor of New Birth Baptist Church, one of the largest African-American churches in the state of Georgia, and a man who I'm so proud to call my friend, Dr. Jamal Bryant.
Thank you so much. Good morning, all of you. Good morning to our Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Senator Jones, for extending to me this opportunity. I want to take a point of personal privilege to salute all of the women who are serving today, as this is a Women's History Month. Thank you for being the backbone of this great state and clearly of this amazing Senate. I walked into the chamber today with a bipartisan message from a former king of the Middle East. In his memoir, the Book of Psalms, he wrote in chapter 41, "Would you consider the poor?" South African president said, "Poverty is not an accident. Just like slavery and apartheid, it can be removed by human beings." Having never been elected into public office, but what Gen Z would consider as an influencer, Mother Teresa said the greatest disease in the West is being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. No matter how big our nation is, no matter how strong Georgia is, we are no stronger than our weakest people, which is the poor. There's a great disillusionment amongst this nation that would suggest that there are some entities that want to just safeguard the wealthy, maintain the middle class, but there is no strategy for the poor. If all politics are local, I would urge and charge you on today to make sure that in whatever decisions you make in the next couple of days before sine die, that you will consider the poor. Consider how it is that we have given $165 billion in aid to the Ukraine. But in so doing, as a superpower, we have a global responsibility, but we also have an obligation to be mindful of the poor. With the $165 billion that we have sent to the Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen, we could have fixed the Flint water crisis 215 times. With that same money, we could have given every homeless veteran $2 million. With that same money, we could have given $20 billion to fix homelessness across the states of America. If we could have given that same money, $50 million, to every family that was impacted by the Maui wildfires. With that same money, can you imagine what we could have done to raise the state of education here in Georgia? Consider the poor. Consider the poor in knowing last night 1 million Americans slept in their car. Consider the poor. Be mindful of almost 3 million people who have been purged from Medicaid rolls. Consider the poor. And before it is that I charge you to do that as public officiants, I am mindful in my own capacity as a cleric to know why it is that stained glass windows were initially installed in churches. Stained glass windows were put in churches so that parishioners, while praying and praising, did not have to look outside and see abject poverty. And while it is that today we are shrouded by a gold dome, let's be mindful of the families in Georgia who are in rustic poverty, trying to figure out how to feed middle schoolers at lunch. How it is that those who are contending with PTSD want to know, is there any light or any glimmer of hope for me? I close by reminding you of a story that Jesus shared many years ago that I want to remix in this setting. He said that there was a man going from Jerusalem to Jericho, But for all intents and purposes, there was a man going from Savannah to Atlanta, and he fell amongst thieves. He was robbed, he was beaten, he was left half dead. And the first person to pass him by was a member of the church. And the second person to pass him by was a member of the legislature. And the third person who came along was a stranger. I want to pause and publicly thank the nonprofit agencies in the state of Georgia who have filled in the gap where churches have failed, where policies have failed, but for the nameless and faceless people who remember the poor. He said, David did, that your blessing is just in thinking about them. Because it was, in fact, that Greek philosopher that stole from the Egyptian philosopher, I think, therefore I am. What you think is what you become, and what you become is what you do. Let the legacy of your tenure of public service say that generations yet unborn was a group of legislators who remembered the poor. Let's pray. Good and gracious God, guide our feet while we run this race. We don't want our race to be run in vain. Give us the mind of the poor who had the thought to start colleges like Payne. Give us the mind of the poor, of those who started Morris Brown College. Give us the mind so that the soundtrack of our existence will be the song of the Negro spiritual. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or with a song, it's only then that our living will not be in vain. God, please don't let us die wealthy in our pockets, but poor in our hearts. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If I could have everyone's attention, if I could have everybody's attention, please. We have a special guest. As many of y'all know, I always let our congressional leaders come into the chamber and address the audience. And we've got a good friend of mine from the Augusta area, Congressman Rick Allen, here today. And he is here to qualify, so he is running again. We're glad for that. And he told me, be sure, he wanted me to remind each and every one of y'all, now there's a little golf tournament coming up next month in his hometown. He said he had plenty of tickets for everybody in here. All you got to do is ask him for it. So, all right. Y'all give Congressman Rick Allen a warm welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, it's great to be with you. I always enjoy being here at the Capitol. It's a lot more fun than being at our place. We're very divided. We're a very divided country. People ask me, my goodness, what's wrong with the United States Congress? I said, well, the Congress is a reflection. It's the people's house. The House of Representatives is a reflection of the culture. And we have a very divided culture. But in these halls is where change most effectively happens. And what I'm working toward in Washington is it's an old term called servant leadership. In fact, I serve on the board of Lead Like Jesus. Jesus was the greatest servant leader to ever live on this planet. He established it. Servant leadership means I don't own it, I don't own you, I don't own it all. It all belongs to God, and I'm just a steward here. And it also means bottom up, not top down. What I'm working to do is to stop the federal government from all this top-down stuff, because they think they know what you need to drive, where you can go, and all these other things, regulations. And I agree with the pastor. We need to help the poor, no question about it. But every time the government does something for the poor, guess what? They expect something in return. You ever thought about that? They expect something. In other words, you owe them. And that's one reason we have generational welfare in this country. This government is perpetrating this and has nearly destroyed the family. That's why in the state of Georgia, I want y'all to continue great work you're doing. Best state to do business in 10 years in a row. And if you don't think my colleagues know about it up there, they come to me all the time. And they tell me what in the world is going on in the state of Georgia. And this is what I tell them. It's all about leadership, folks. It's all about what you're doing for this state. And I'm going to tell you, it's known throughout the country. Why do you think so many people are moving here? It's because this stuff doesn't just happen. It's great leadership. So keep up the great work you're doing. You're making me a proud Georgian in the midst of that, whatever you want to call it in Washington. I'm going to continue to work to make our states more powerful, our communities more powerful, so Washington can actually learn from you. How about that? But that's what I'm trying to do for you. I appreciate the opportunity and privilege to work for you on your behalf. And I am signed up again, and I look forward to it because I really believe in my heart. And like I said, we don't have a government problem in this country. We have a heart problem in this country. We got to fix that first. And you know who? The only one that can fix that, and that is Jesus Christ. So when we fix that heart problem, we won't have to worry about the poor. But I will tell you this is the only country in the world that if you do life in according with his decrees and are obedient to it, in this country, you will be a millionaire if you do life the right way. That is what we need to tell young people. They need to know that opportunity is there because some of them don't know it. There's many that have, it's come to life. Ben Carson is a great example, great friend of mine, and there are many other examples. His mother made him read books, And then he understood what he could do. And his brother lives right here in Georgia, is an aeronautical engineer. What a success story. That is what I want to see. I don't want to lose one child in this country. If you're not reading at the third grade level when you finish the third grade, you're likely not going to graduate from high school. We got to fix that. And we can fix it in Georgia. Because if you graduate from high school, learn a trade, get a skill, get married, have children, like I said, you will live the American dream. It's guaranteed in this country. No other country in the world can guarantee that. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate what you're doing. And please continue to give guidance to this federal government so they can understand how we do business in Georgia. Thank you very much.
We have a very special guest here today. We have the AG Rhodes Health and Rehab leadership here today, and they've got an amazing story. So, Secretary, read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 725 by Senators Estevez of the 6th and others, a resolution congratulating and commending AG Rhodes upon its 120th anniversary and for other purposes. Whereas during its 120 years of service, AG Rhodes has been dedicated to providing compassionate care to seniors throughout Metro Atlanta. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate AG Rhodes upon the grand occasion of its 120th anniversary, commend it for its many outstanding contributions on behalf of the seniors in Georgia, and extend best wishes for its continued growth, development, and success. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. If I could get everybody's attention, please. Everyone's attention. Let's show our colleagues a common courtesy here and because we do have a very special guest here, which all our guests are special, and least like to have attention of the Senate when we do that. So I recognize the senator from the 6th to introduce our special guest of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, good morning to all of you. It is my honor and pleasure to have the team from AG Roads here this morning. AG Roads has been providing exceptional senior care to seniors all across Metro Atlanta with 3 campuses across the region. They are a nonprofit organization that has been in existence for over 120 years, which is an amazing feat. And during that time, they have utilized a mission-driven approach, and they operate under the belief that all individuals deserve access to high-quality senior care regardless of financial circumstances. The organization provides its residents with personalized care that prioritizes their physical, emotional, and social well-being through its team of dedicated healthcare professionals. And colleagues, I can attest to the great work that AG Roads does in the community because my mom is a resident of one of their facilities. For 120 years, they have been providing seniors with the care that I've seen them provide to my mom, and for that, I am incredibly grateful, and I hope that you join me in congratulating them on 120 years. I'd like to introduce to you the team, some of the team members at AG Roads. We have a few of the trustees in Jocelyn Dorsey, Maurice Baker, and Margaret Denny. Ms. Denny is especially important because her family started the organization AG Roads, which we are all grateful for. Kim Beasley is a communications director at AG Roads, and Deke Cato is the CEO. And I'd like to invite Mr. Cato up to say a few words.
Thank you very, very much, Senator Esteves, and all you honorable senators for this honor. This is quite the birthday present for AG Roads. We do not take lightly the responsibility that this state and this community has put on us. We take care of over 1,100 of our state's most vulnerable seniors yearly. So for us to be doing that for 120 years, while we are proud, we will continue to serve this community, which in the way that we think our seniors deserve, and that is a dedicated life in their the post days in their life. 120 years is also important to us because in a few months we will be opening our brand new campus in Cobb County, and that campus will take care of 130 elders, most of whom will be living with dementia. So again, our hope is to give them a dignified method, a dignified way of living, and we enjoy doing that for this community. And we thank you all again for this honor. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you.
We always like to take this opportunity to introduce our doctor of the day. We have a physician here today that her husband, I think a lot of y'all might know, he walks the hallways, Raul over there, and Raul, I always knew there's somebody keeping you up somewhere, so, but no, we're glad to have his wife here today, and I recognize the senator from the 55th to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. It is my pleasure to introduce one of my constituents, Dr. Drew Contractor. She is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon, fellowship-trained in hand, wrist, and elbow surgery. Dr. Contractor served in the U.S. Army for 12 years, achieving the Army Commendation Medal and the rank of Major. Dr. Contractor is a double dog and completed her bachelor's and master's degree at the University of Georgia. She has a master's in public health from Yale University and earned her medical degree at George Washington University. Dr. Contractor worked at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention prior to her medical career. Additionally, she serves her community on autism and mental health issues. She is married to journalist Raul Bali and is the proud mother of 2 boys. Thank you so much, Dr. Contractor, for coming to visit with us and taking care of our members that might have an illness. And as it's always said, I hope you don't have to use her. Welcome, Dr. Contractor.
I'm honored to be your doctor of the day. I'm happy to serve you, especially any chronic orthopedic issues you might have. I commend your efforts and commitment to your constituents. As a surgeon, I repair what's broken, remove what's harmful, and I eliminate what's painful. But mental health is an invisible issue that we all deal with that's difficult to repair, remove, or eliminate. From children to the elderly, mental health conditions worsen all health problems, reduce productivity, increase addiction, and put our individual and community safety at high risk. Georgia ranks one of the lowest of 5 in the United States for mental health access. I implore you to prioritize this as a foundation of our state's health and safety. Thank you for your time. Come visit me, y'all, and go Dogs.
All right. That's great. Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? We have a few. We need a few more because we got a lot of pages here today. So I know some of y'all can find something to talk about today. So recognize the senator from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to announce that today is Reach Out and Read Day at the Capitol, and I'd like in the gallery today is Miss Amy Dickerson, who is the executive director. She stand, please. Kim Thomas, who is program director. Carolina Klinker, who is the program manager, and Carson Pennington, who's the communication specialist. Thank y'all for being here. We have put on your desk today this little book. to take home to your children, well, probably more so your grandchildren. And read it. And it also, it has been approved by the senator from the 20th. So just want to let y'all know that. So let me tell y'all a little bit about Reach Out and Read. Reach Out and Read Day at the State Capitol recognizes the power of reading to young children every day and every day. Reach Out and Read's early literacy intervention began in 1989 at Boston Medical Center and has expanded to 50 states, serving 5.7 million families today. Georgia's affiliate office now serves 177,045 children and families in 78 counties and at 205 hospitals. More than 1,000 medical providers and staff have been trained in the evidence-based early literacy intervention program of Reach Out and Read. Just over the past 12 months, 354,000 well child checkups engaging approximately 177,000 children and families were conducted across Georgia with pediatricians and providers implementing the Reach Out and Read program. Since the program began, more than 2.7 million new children books have been given to young children in Georgia by pediatric providers. Reach Out and Read is the only early literacy intervention program endorsed by the American Academy of Pediatrics. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Reach Out and Read, for the great job you're doing to helping our children learn how to read. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I see the good senator from the 27th has some special guests with him today. And he has his lovely wife, Natalie, here today as well. Let's give the senator from the 27th and his family a round of applause for being here today. I'm assuming they're all here because we requalified today. All right, sounds good. Good deal. Recognize the senator from the 39th.
Good morning. Today we observe Small Business Advocacy Day. It's a day dedicated to celebrating the lifeblood of Georgia's economy, our small businesses. An astounding 99% of businesses within our state fall into this category, serving as pillars of innovation, job creation, and community engagement. So this day is a chance to recognize their incredible contributions and also to address the challenges they face. We are fortunate to have a number of people in the gallery who are our small business people, if we can recognize them. And organizations like Small Business Majority, Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunity Project, the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. These groups play a vital role by empowering entrepreneurs with resources and support, fostering economic growth through job creation, and promoting equitable opportunities for small business owners from all backgrounds across Georgia's diverse communities. I wanted to just take a moment to recognize these organizations and all the amazing small businesses in Georgia. I appreciate you joining with me in recognizing them with a resolution that we passed yesterday. And if we can just take a moment, again, to applaud all of our small businesses in the chamber. Thank you so much. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 15th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise at this time to recognize the passing of a very important figure in Columbus, Georgia area. His passing was deeply felt by many, many people that he had been friends with and had worked with over many, many years in Columbus. Retired Staff Sergeant Floyd Cecil Washington, affectionately known as Wash, was born January 2nd, 1930, in Point Blank, Texas, to the late Johnny and Bertie Lee Washington. He passed Friday, February 23rd, in Columbus. Wash entered the military in 1948 by way of Fort Lewis, Washington. He re-enlisted in 1954 and served until his retirement as Staff Sergeant in 1988 at Fort Benning. During his military career, he fought in Korea, earning the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and many other accommodations and medals. While serving his country, Wash would go on to fight as a Golden Glove champion for 9 years. After his boxing career, he would go on to train boxers for the Army as well as the Olympics. He served as a coach for cross-country activity as well as volleyball. Wash was also a 32nd degree member of the Prince Hall Masons and the Controllers Civic and Social Club. Between the years of 1960 and 1970, Wash owned and or operated all of the following establishments: Sportsman's Shed, Wilson's Paradise, Lover's Holiday, the La Carousel, and the Tap and Game Room. At the same time, he ran the S&W Lounge, which stood for Sandman and Wash. In 1977, he began the construction of the F&W Control Tower, which officially opened for business in 1978. From that date until his final moments, Wash was the owner and operator of what we call in Columbus, Georgia, the Spot. Incidentally, the Lover's Holiday was participated by Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson. We're going to miss Floyd Washington. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 12th on the point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, in support of SB 157, sponsored by the senator from the 17th, there's a short story that I would like to share with you. Dale had the odds set against him since birth. He was born to a mother fighting alcoholism and an abusive father that also dealt with addiction. After his biological father went to prison for domestic abuse, he was subjected to living with a stepfather who sold drugs along with his mother, and then a second stepfather who sexually abused children. By age 13, Dale was in foster care. Soon he fell into the family pattern of alcohol and drug addiction, resulting in a non-violent criminal record. But in 2011, his life changed. He was given a first offender sentence, went into rehab, and got his GED. He's been sober ever since. He went on to become an EMT and developed aspirations to help people in the medical field. He enrolled at Georgia State, and last year he graduated with a 3.98 GPA. Dale wants to be a physician's assistant, but under current law, his first offender case could prevent him from obtaining a license to contribute his passion and skills to our desperate need of healthcare professionals. He also lacks clarity on how his case will be considered by a licensing board of whether a board will positively consider his considerable accomplishments of the past 12 years. This has dissuaded him from getting his graduate degree and pursuing licensure in Georgia. If SB 157, he'd be able to stay home and work as a physician's assistant, if passed. SB 157 would first ensure that his successful first offender case would not hold him back. It would enable him to go through a process before enrolling in grad school to know for sure whether his record will prevent him from getting a license. Without these provisions, Dale is reluctantly planning to move to North Carolina, where he knows he'll be able to get licensed and help people. If SB 157 passes, it would allow him to come back home and serve his own community. I commend our Judiciary Chairman, the Senator from the 17th for sponsoring this bill, and our Lieutenant Governor for making this a priority. We passed SR 157 last year, and it is time for the House of Representatives in the state of Georgia to do the same. Thank you, and I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar, privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution on the consent calendar? Chair hears none. The resolution on the consent calendar is adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw and commit? I recognize Senator from the 51st, the Majority Leader.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
It seems unusual to have so many House members in the chamber this week. Do you think they're all looking for a seat to upgrade to next year?
You know, I have never met a House member that didn't want to be a senator. So, Senator, I recognize you again if you like.
It would be an honor. I'd like to make a motion that the Senate stand adjourned pursuant to H.R. 978 until 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 7th.
The Majority Leader has moved that Senate stand adjourned until Thursday, March 7th. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee has been canceled. Children and Families Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in room 307 of CLOB. The Education and Youth Committee will meet at 2:30 p.m. in room 450 of the Capitol. And the Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee will meet at 4 p.m. in room 450 of the Capitol. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Any other announcements? All right, the Majority Leader has moved. The Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, March 7th. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Well, it looks like the ayes have it, so we're going to stay in here a little bit longer here. The ayes didn't quite come through for us right there, excuse me. We'll just stand at ease till y'all get picked back up, so. I guarantee y'all on Thursday when we have 15 presentations, I bet we'll have 35 of y'all wanting to do points of personal privilege too. So, all right, the ayes have it. We're adjourned. Y'all have a good day.